So hi guys, this is my first birth versus my second birth, or birth. I had a C-section each time. My other one was like an emergency one. I had been rushed there to another hospital that wasn't my home, that wasn't where I lived, because they could treat me better because I had HELLP syndrome and preeclampsia, which I'll get more into that. So my first pregnancy was a twin pregnancy. I had my daughters April 14th. It was 12:55 they were born. They were only like seconds within each other. They are actually 13 months, probably almost 14. They'll be 14 months probably this month. And I also have a 4-week-old that turned 4 weeks today. So my C-section there was a scheduled one for her, for my daughter that was just born, Lindley. And my other daughters are named Finley and Novalie. If you haven't been watching my channel very long, remember to stay tuned for more videos. So yeah, so my first birth, first time birth or whatever, like first C-section actually is what I'm gonna call this video, was a lot different than the second. So the first one happened, I was rushed to the emergency room, down away from my town, the hospital that could take, better care of us. So yeah, there's that. The second, I was in so much pain before they brought me in. I was just like, are you ready now? Are you ready now? They said, we're cleaning up the operating room. So I was waiting and waiting for that, and they finally took me down. I panicked. I remember looking some guy in the eye, and I said, please don't let me die. Like, I looked him right in the eyes, and said that, and he said he wouldn't. And then they put the thing over my face, and I went out. And then I woke up in recovery, and I was not in pain. As I can remember, I wasn't. I was just really out of it, but I was numb. I was really thirsty because I had been really thirsty for hours, and if you guys know this, if you have like surgery or something, you're not allowed to eat or drink for a while. So yeah, I was really thirsty. The nurse was in there, and then they eventually wheeled me back to my room. My daughters were taken to the NICU because I was 34 weeks and 5 days when I had them, was that far along. So they were taken to the NICU. I was put in the other room. I ended up not seeing them till 9 o'clock that night. I got sicker afterwards, but I wasn't in extreme pain or anything. I had a pain pump thing hooked up to me. Nurses were coming in and out checking me. I'm pretty sure they were checking my blood pressure. They were giving me pain medicine. I think after that, after I got rid of the pain pump, it was every 4 hours, I believe. Yeah, so I don't think I got up till, and I had magnesium to keep me from having I think seizures or strokes, because my blood pressure was so high, and the HELLP syndrome that I had elevated my liver enzymes, which was almost causing my liver to fail. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, it was not the recovery wasn't that bad. I really wanted to get to see my girls, so eventually I started walking around more and more. My recovery was wasn't really that painful. I was pretty numb. I took a shower and I was numb. It was difficult learning how to get in and out of bed, and I was really nervous to get in and out of bed the first time. They put me on this thing. I forget even how it went, and the nurse helped you lift up, and I think I went to the bathroom, or they put me in a chair and a wheelchair, and I went to see my daughters in the NICU. But I was really sick. If you guys go and watch my pregnancy vlogs, and then you can see how swollen I was. You can see a little short clip of a video that I took after I had him when I was still in the hospital. I was in there for 4 days. And within those 4 days after that C-section, I had a blood transfusion because my thing was supposed to be 12. I think it's your hemoglobin. I might have got that wrong, but mine was a 6. So I ended up getting a blood transfusion while I was there. Yeah. So there was that. Yeah, and overall it wasn't a bad experience. Stress-wise, it was a bad experience. And it was emotional because my daughters were in the NICU, but I was trying to get to them. So I was walking, as much as, I was walking a lot. Ended up into my recovery walking a lot. I think probably by the time I came home, I was pretty well healed up. By the time they got released not by the time I got released, by the time they got released and we got to come home to our hometown from when they were in the NICU. Yeah, so there's that. yeah. I ended up like having a small like tear, or not tear, but like where like fluid was leaking out of my incision like when I was home, but they told me that was fine, and I ended up getting medically cleared to go back to work after that C-section at like 6 weeks. So it's probably pretty normal. I pushed for like 4 weeks, but the lady would not do that. So yeah, that was my first C-section. Wasn't bad at all. Like, other than the other health issues I had, like, it wasn't much pain. Like, I don't feel like it was much pain. Like, there was pain, but it wasn't like super bad. Now, with my one about my third daughter, my second C-section was extremely painful. So if you guys haven't seen my labor and delivery, I will try labor and delivery vlog. You can see it. I'll try to link it down below for you guys to watch. Go check that out. You can see like from when I got in the shower that morning to going on to the hospital and then to afterwards. Like, that's an amazing video. Also plan on probably uploading our day going, the day that we got to go home vlog, and it was just some clips that I put in there that it's like, I love to capture memories and have these forever, because that's mainly, like, I think it's cool that I can look back and stuff like that. So anyway, getting into my second C-section. Yeah, it was really painful. So that morning, it was a scheduled C-section. It was May 9th, 2019, of course. I got up that morning, it was 4 something, and took a shower, got all washed up in the soap that they told me to wash up in, like, somewhat, because that soap kind of scared me because it had some crazy warnings on it. Got to the hospital. I was like having panic attacks and everything. They blew my veins in my arm so many times. I did have like bruising on this arm where they did that. I can't, like 5 or 6, even if I don't know if I don't want to get it wrong, but like 5 times I feel like they stuck me and they kept blowing my vein in this arm. They finally got my IV started in this arm. I was crying, being like, am I gonna die? Am I gonna die? I do not like needles at all. And then we had to put the catheter in before I went down into my C-section. And I'm just going to put this little thing in here. I have to be put to sleep during my C-sections because I have spina bifida. So I have a scar that's like right here to here. So they will not stick a epidural or a spinal needle in there, which I probably would freak out anyway to be awake during my C-section. So, you know, all right. So anyway, yeah, they were trying to put the catheter in, but her head was so low and so down there that it kept pushing the catheter out, and I was crying, I was in pain, I was like, like it hurt, kind of hurt, like, yeah. So yeah, she was so low into the birth canal, her head was pushing it out. Eventually they got it in. I started taking a panic attack on the way down to the operating room, and they were like, yeah, and I was freaking out. There was just one guy that was there that was like in with the surgery, and he was phenomenal. Like, he helped me because I was like freaking out, like taking this panic attack. He talked me down and stuff. So yeah, where am I getting started? Yeah, and I got down there in the operating room, in the hallway. I was taking a panic attack. They wheeled me in. I was saying, am I gonna die? Like, I started freaking out. The doctor like said was nasty about it, was like mean about it. This time I was in a separate hospital. If I ever have kids again, I do not want to go to my local hospital. I'm hoping I won't live here then if I ever have any more kids. Yeah. So yeah, and that's what happened. And then eventually, you know, she told me to stop it, cut it out or whatever. I can't remember exactly. And then they put the mask on my face, went to sleep again, woke up in recovery in extreme pain. I don't know if it was normal, probably because it was repeated, and my C-sections were so close together. They were 13 months apart almost. So yeah, my daughters were like almost 4 months when I got pregnant again, which I do not recommend. They do not recommend that to the doctor, but if you are, you might be okay. Like, it's too late now. But